Boy, Clash of the Killer Queens. Chapter 1. From my bedroom window I can see green fields far away on the edge of town. Dan said there used to be a meadow right here, but they ploughed it up to build our block of flats. There are 50 families living in Meadow Tower, and we live at the top. Dan used to live in the flat next door. At first he was just our next door neighbour, but then he became our friend. He didn't really have a job, but he knew a lot. His best subjects were nature and saving planet Earth. "We're lucky to be living here, Mel," he'd say. "Most planets in the universe are too hot, too cold, or poisonous, but we live somewhere with all the ingredients for life. It's a planet in a billion, and we need to look after it." Dan doesn't live in Meadow Tower anymore. I miss him. Mum calls out from the kitchen, "Breakfast!" For breakfast I have honey on my toast, but for tea I like cheese or scrambled eggs. We eat quick food because Mum's always tired when she gets back from the police station. Detective Inspector Meadley, that's my mum. Seeing so much bad stuff makes her worry. "I spotted some of your mates messing around in the shopping centre at lunchtime." I don't have any mates, and, anyway, the people she saw would have been older than me. I munch my toast and honey, and I think about bees. My bees. Today is a very important day. There are 50,000 bees in our beehive, and after school I'm going to open it up and look inside. I need to check that they're making new bees to keep the hive alive and making honey too. I've done it lots of times before, but never on my own. It was a few months ago when Dan found the hive at the dump and brought it home. It needed mending, but Dan was good at that sort of thing. He did a sketch to show me how beehives work. It's on my pinboard. "You're going to be a beekeeper," he said. "It's important work, but it will be fun." And it was fun. Brilliant fun. I was hooked immediately and I haven't been bee crazy ever since. "We'll give the bees a home and they'll give us honey," Dan said. "Like rent." "Yeah, sort of," he laughed. We brought some bees from Dan's mum, Daisy. Daisy lives near Meadow Tower and keeps beehives at the bottom of her garden. "Bees love living in towns," she told us, "away from farmland that is sprayed with harmful chemicals." So guess where we put ours? We've got the highest beehive in England, Mel. Our bees can see every park and garden for miles around. How cool is that? Our bees love their hive and are always busy buzzing around the town gardens, collecting pollen and nectar and bringing it back to the roof. When Dan was here, he'd wait until I got back from school and we'd check on the bees together. He'd chat and joke with Mr. Johnson, who grows flowers and vegetables in pots. Mr. Johnson is interested in bees and keeps an eye on things when I'm not here. The beekeeping went well when Dan and I first started, but then, disaster, our bees were attacked. It was like a battle scene. Bee wings, legs and heads were scattered all around. Dan said the attackers had eaten some of our baby bees and honey too. "Who did this?" I asked. "Probably wasps," Dan said. "A deadly killer. Honeybees have lots of enemies, including microscopic mites and death's head hawk moths." I'm eating supermarket honey on my toast this morning, but that's going to change. Dan left the hive and the bee equipment, and today's the day when I take charge. If my bees are happy and healthy, I'll be eating Meadow Tower honey in a few weeks. Mum squeezes my shoulder. "Eat your toast and go to school." Keep my head down when I walk to school. "Don't draw attention to yourself and people won't bother you," Mum says. The kids at school don't get it. I've tried to explain that beekeeping is cool, but nobody's interested. Maybe they'll listen next week when it's my turn to read my project at assembly. It's called "Bees Are Brilliant," and I'm going to have a practice in the library at lunchtime. Miss Gushkori, the librarian, is going to listen and offer advice. Mrs. Gushkori says the whole school will be crazy after my talk. I'm walking up the school steps. Melvin Meadley, here please. It's Mrs. Welks, my teacher. Ben Fleming is ill, she says. Yes, miss, I reply. Instead of Ben, you will read your project at this morning's assembly. I've got to read my project today. But I'm not. I haven't practiced. Nonsense! What's it about? Bugs or something? Mrs. Welks asks. Then, without waiting for an answer, she heads up for the staff room. You'll be fine. Coming on stage after register, she shouts. But maybe this is my chance. My project is written, and I've even got my beekeeper suit in my backpack. I was going to show it to Miss Gushkori at lunchtime. I think I'm ready. The registers have been called. This is it. The whole school is waiting with excitement to hear my project. But I'm trembling as I step onto the school stage. My beekeeper suit has a hood with mesh at the front to keep the bees out. I can normally see okay, but the hall lights are very bright, so I'm walking like a nervous zombie. 300 confused faces stare up at me. And now, Melvin Meadley is going to give his talk about... Mrs. Welks peers down at her notes. Bees! Quickly, Melvin, step forward. Nobody claps as I make my way to the front of the stage. I clear my throat. Some of you may already know that I am a beekeeper, and today I'm going to tell you all about my bees. For human beings to stay alive, we need plants to eat. But plants need bees to pollinate them so they can reproduce and make more plants. That is why we bees are so important. No bees, no world. Phew, it was going okay. They seem interested. Even the new girl in our class, Pretty Car. Excellent. But honeybees are in trouble when farmers spray them with crops with chemicals. There's something buzzing in my hood. A bee! There's sniggering from audience as I struggle to unzip my hood. I know I shouldn't panic, but I can't help it. How did it get in? It's going to sting me on my face. There's a bee in my hood, Miss Welks. And to laughter. Somebody at the front starts buzzing. It's Troublemaker, Norman Crudwell. Bzzz. Mrs. Welks tuts and fumbles impatiently for the zip on my hood. Keep still! Mrs. Welks is retiring soon. Hooray! I hope our new teacher isn't as grumpy as Mrs. Welks. Now the rest of the school has just joined in. Bzzz. The bee suit was a silly idea, Melvin. Mrs. Welks hisses under her breath when she finally finds the zip. You should have... Eek! Bzzz. The bee whizzes out, does 2 loop-the-loops and disappears up Mrs. Welks' dress. She's dancing around the stage, singing too. Woo! Ooh! Bzz, 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 yeah! Ee! The 300 faces are now staring at Mrs. Welks' pants. Zip! She has been stung on the bottom. Ouch! Crude now snorts with joy. Nice one, bee-boy. Bee-boy. Where did that come from? Seconds later, everybody's chanting. Bee-boy, bee-boy, bee-boy. Disaster. Pretty Car has joined in. Beetroot-faced Mrs. Welks has had enough. Silence, Norman and Melvin. See me after morning break. You can clean out Stinky and Whiffer, the school gerbils. Now get back to the classroom. Now Mrs. Welks has got in it for me, and Crudwell is being punished too. They're going to make my life hell. And what about B-Boy, my new nickname? I guess it doesn't sound too bad, but I don't think they meant it at all as a compliment.